All right, guys, let's knock out this practice test video. Give you some answers here. Number 1, 2, and 3 are all fraction exponents. Remember, bottom is the root, top is the power. So if I'm looking at the first one, I always do the bottom first. So I'm going to do, that's not a good color. I'm going to do the 3 first, which means cube root, because the bottom is the root. The cube root of 64 is 4. The 2 is still there. You got to square it. You get 16. All you got to do. Look at number 2. Number 2, bottom is the root, top is the power. The root is 2. The square root of 49 is 7. That leaves a negative 3, which means I have to cube the 7. If you punch it in, it's 343. But because it's negative, you also have to flip it. So you get 1 over 343. All there is to that one. Number 3, bottom is the root, top is the power. I'm going to take the 5th root of 32, which is 2. I'm going to raise it to the 3rd power. 2 to the 3rd power, 8. Those aren't too bad. Number 4, oh my gosh, I did not bring my calculator. I will pause this just a second. Let me punch it in. But basically you're doing this. You're hit the number. Here's the steps on your calculator. Hit the number 5 first. Hit your math button. Go to math. I think it's number 5. Scroll down and find that. If you hit that, all of a sudden this shows up on your calculator screen. Then you can punch in 1047 and you're going to get an answer. Give me just 1 second and I'll punch that in. All right, punched it in and got this answer right here, 4.0178. All right, so it's just a calculator problem. All right, number 5. 5 says solve the equation, so I'm going to get the x squared by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And if you do 144 divided by 4, you get 36. Because it's x squared, I'm going to take the square root of each side. When you take the square root in an equation, you must put a plus or minus in front of your answer, and the square root of 36 is 6. That's all you got to do. Number 6, same deal. I'm going to move the 1/5 over. I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides by 5. If I do that, the 5's cancel. It gives me x to the 5th. 625 times 5 is 3,125. I'm going to take the 5th root this time of both sides, the 5th root, and the 5th root of 3125 is 5. Not plus or minus because it's an odd root. You do plus or minus when you take an even root. All right, here we go with the exponent rules. Number 7, 5 to the 2/3 times 5 to the 1/4. When you multiply, you add exponents. So I'm really going to add 2/3 plus 1/4. 2/3 is really 8/12. 1/4 is 3/12. So you get 5 to the 11/12. All you got to do. Number 8, they're both cube roots. You're allowed to multiply those. So if you multiply 32 times 2, you get 64. 64 happens to have a cube root, which is 4. You might want to write these numbers down. 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 cubed, 5 cubed, because those are numbers. 6 cubed. You're going to need those numbers. And if all you got to do is punch them in your calculator to get those. You have to memorize them, but you're going to see those numbers a lot with cube roots. Number 9, not the same base. Okay, so you can't multiply them. But what you can do is you can make them the same base. I like the 2. 4 is really 2 squared, so I'm going to put a 2 squared to the 5/3. Now, I have an exponent inside and exponent outside. That's when you multiply your exponents together, which gives me 10/3. Now, if I'm looking what I got 2 both times, so it's 2 to the 1/3 times 2 to the 10/3. When you multiply, you add exponents. 1/3 plus 10/3 is 11/3. Number 10, if I can find it here, there we go. Both cube roots again. Cube root of 3 times cube root of 15, you're allowed to multiply those. You get cube root of 45. So I'm thinking of my cube numbers again. All right, I'm thinking about 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, 4, and none of those go into 45. And because none of them do, I can't simplify it. That's your answer. It's all you can do. Number 11. Number 11, remember, you're allowed to add or subtract radicals as long as they have the same index and the same number inside, which these do. So 15 minus 3 is 12. On the 4 through to 7. Don't forget to write your little 4 there in your index. Okay, no big deal. Number 12, again, I can't add those exponents because the bases aren't the same. This is what we did just a second ago. So I'm going to make the bases the same. Always take the bigger one and make it into the smaller one. So I'm going to take the 16 and make it 4 squared. And I have a 1/3. Again, I have an exponent in and out. Whenever you have that situation, you multiply your exponents together. 2 times 1/3 is 2/3. Now I'm multiplying. When you multiply, you add exponents. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, which is just 1. So it's really 4 to the first power, or just 4. That's all I got on that page. 13, square root of 81a to the 9th. Okay, but it's a square root. Square root of 81 we know is 9. The index, even though it's not written there, is 2. Remember how we do the variables. We divide the 2 into 9. 2 goes into 9 4 times with a remainder of 1. Because it goes in there 4 times, I'm taking 4 a's out. Because there's a remainder of 1, I'm leaving 1 a in. That's all you got to do. Let's go to 14. I keep saying it. It's all you got to do, because these are really pretty short if you know what you're doing. Okay, this is a 4th root this time. 4th root numbers are 1 to the 4th power, 2 to the 4th power, 3 to the 4th power. I'm going to stop right there. You could keep going, but none of those go into 7. So the 7's going to stay inside. Nothing you can do about that. Now divide. 4 goes into 6 one time. Take 1a out. The remainder is 2. 2a stay in. 4 goes into 8 2 times evenly. So I'm taking 2 b's out. 4 goes into 7 one time. Remainder 3. So I'm leaving 3 in there. And there it is. These are one-step problems. Hopefully not that bad. Let's go to 15. Whenever you have a fraction like this inside, they're both square roots, you're allowed to divide, cancel, anything you want to do. So what I'm thinking here is 3/12 is really the same thing as 1/4 when you reduce it. And that's great, because the square root of 1 is 1 and the square root of 4 is 2. All right, works out beautifully. You can reduce. That is okay with radicals. 16 and 17, the last two. Really watch this one. Cube root of 2, remember, break it up first, over cube root of 3. Now, because it's a cube root, and it's illegal to have a radical in your denominator, I got to find some way to pull that 3 out of there. So what I'm going to do, I need to have 3 3's. Right now I have 1 3. I need to have 3 3's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 2 more 3's, by 3 squared. And if I do the bottom that way, I have to do the top that way. All right, so on the bottom, it gives me this. It gives me cube root of 3 to the 3rd power. On the top, it gives me cube root of 2 times 3 squared. All right, so what that gives me on the bottom now to finish up, because 3 goes into 3 one time, I can just pull out the 3. That's what I wanted. On the top, I'm just going to multiply what I have up there. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And guys, there you go. All right, you just cannot leave the radical in your denominator. That's the only thing. One more, 17. Cube root of 2 plus cube root of 54. Now this one was like the one we did a minute ago. You're allowed to add radicals, but they must have the same number inside, and they must have the same index. All right, they already have the same index. The index is 3. Index is 3. You can't add them unless they're both the same, though. And here's the hint how to do these. If that's a 2, this has got to be a 2. Okay, I can't make the 2 become a 54, but I can divide 2 into 54. So I'm taking my calculator, figure out how many times 2 goes into 54. Well, when you punch it in, it goes in there 27 times, which is great, because remember our cube numbers: 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed. Look at that, 3 cubes, 27. So what I'm looking at right there, that's really 3. So it gives me this, cube root of 2 plus, if I take that 3 out, that's 3 on the cube root of 2. Now I can add. I have 1 on the cube root of 2 plus 3 on the cube root of 2 gives me 4 on the cube root of 2 right there. And that is it. Guys, I think you got a good chance to do pretty well tomorrow. This wasn't an easy week, but I feel like as much as we've worked on it, I think you got a pretty good feel for it. Use this video as much as you need to. You can move around back and forth. So, use it. Do great tomorrow. Come see me for help if you need to before your test tomorrow. All right. See you. Bye.